Imagine losing decades of your life for a crime you didn't commit. Across the world, innocent people have been wrongfully sentenced to life in prison. Today, we're diving into the heartbreaking stories of 6 individuals who spent years behind bars, only to be proven innocent. Our first story takes us to Detroit, where Richard Phillips was convicted of murder in 1972. He spent an unimaginable 45 years in prison, claiming his innocence from day one. Finally, in 2018, new evidence emerged. Another inmate confessed, and DNA tests proved Phillips wasn't the murderer. At the age of 73, Phillips was released, but he lost almost half a century. He was declared the longest-serving exoneree in American history. Despite his freedom, adjusting to life outside hasn't been easy. Next, let's look at the story of Anthony Ray Hinton, a man sentenced to death in Alabama for a crime he didn't commit. In 1985, he was accused of 2 murders during a robbery. Hinton didn't have the funds for a good defense, and although no physical evidence linked him to the crime, he was sentenced to death row. For 30 years, Hinton endured the horrors of death row until, in 2015, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned his conviction. New ballistics evidence showed that the bullets didn't match his gun. Hinton left prison a free man, but he lost 30 years of his life to a mistake. If stories like these move you, please consider subscribing to our channel. By staying informed, we can bring awareness to cases that may still need justice. Remember to like, comment, and share this video with others. Let's keep these stories alive. In Texas, Joyce Ann Brown was arrested for robbery and murder in 1980. Police were convinced she was involved because she shared the same name as the true suspect. Despite having an alibi, Brown was sentenced to life in prison. For nearly a decade, Joyce fought tirelessly to prove her innocence. In 1989, evidence finally surfaced linking the actual criminal to the crime, leading to Brown's release. Though she regained her freedom, those years behind bars left emotional scars. Calvin Michael Smith was convicted in North Carolina in 1997 for a brutal assault. The victim, Jill Marker, was attacked while working in a store, but there was no physical evidence tying Smith to the crime. Despite maintaining his innocence, he was sentenced to 29 years. Years later, evidence emerged that police had mishandled the investigation, and a judge ordered Smith's release in 2016. Smith had lost nearly 20 years, and while free now, the damage done can never be erased. Juan Rivera's story is particularly heartbreaking. In 1992, Rivera was convicted of the assault and murder of an 11-year-old girl in Illinois. Police interrogated him for days until he confessed under pressure, despite no physical evidence linking him to the crime. Years later, DNA testing showed that Rivera was innocent, but it took nearly 20 years before his conviction was overturned in 2012. Even though Rivera was finally exonerated, he still struggles with the trauma of spending his young adulthood behind bars. Our final story is that of Ricky Jackson, who spent an unbelievable 39 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Convicted of murder in 1975, he was sentenced based on testimony from a 12-year-old boy, who later admitted he had been pressured by police to lie. In 2014, the witness recanted, and Jackson was finally exonerated. He is now an advocate for those wrongfully convicted, hoping that his story will prevent others from facing the same fate. These stories highlight a broken justice system, where innocent lives are sometimes taken away. If you believe in the importance of justice, subscribe to our channel and share this video to bring awareness to these tragic cases. Let's hope for a future where no innocent person has to endure such a fate.